back to Lloyd and JD, the best fucking podcast in the world. I am Lloyd.
I'm JD.
What's up, man?
Not much. You?
I'm good. It's raining. I love rainy days. Jordy's being a kind of little bit of a downer about it, but we're getting through it.
Yeah. You got your hair cut?
Yep.
It was super short?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I abandoned my old haircut.
How
I
come?
Just got sick of it.
Just too much, too hot, too...
Yeah, and I'm getting older, and like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Always slicking my hair back. It's not really gracious on my aging.
Right.
So I was like, I'm changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got sick of it.
Yeah.
So many years. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I needed a change. Got one.
Right.
Feels good.
And of course we had this week Royal Ascension on the legalization of marijuana, and we have the date.
Oh yeah, like October something.
October 17th is the date.
Fucking everyone in the arse again, but it's good in a way. Like I read it this time. Don't usually do that. Things are changing.
Yeah.
I'm reading. But it gives some time to actually get the stores ready to go, right? When the legalization happens. So instead of that awkward period where you're not able to buy it in stores and you're like, well, where am I supposed to get it from? Because it's illegal to buy it from a place that isn't.
Right.
So, but apparently it leaves them enough time to get these guys set up with their permits and all the things that they need to. Yeah, so that's a good thing.
Yeah,
you know, it's just like with a video game. As long as they're gonna keep it back because it's gonna get better. But the only thing that's scary is like once again the driving laws.
Right,
which
right, and they changed them.
I made them worse.
I know it's it's
they made them worse. They almost won, and then the Liberals were like, no, we want it, and they got it.
Right, and I mean it's obviously going to get challenged, and people are going to end up in court, and unfortunately somebody's going to have to pay for this.
And I don't want to be the person to pay. That's my biggest fear. And
it's
the testing. They even admitted that is equivalent to like me smoking a small bowl in the morning and then driving in the evening.
Right.
Could still show up positive and make me my car impounded.
Yeah.
The second time is 30 days in jail.
Yeah.
I can't spend 30 days in jail.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. It's interesting how they sort of went about that. It's weird that, they basically made it so, you don't even need a reason to do it.
Well,
it's sort of
an
unconstitutional.
Yeah, I read that too. I was going to bring that up with you. They don't even, it's like they just take your rights straight away. It's like, I can just give you one anyway.
Yeah. Which is weird because, with alcohol in the past, it's been, reasonable and probable grounds. There has to be like, empty canisters in there. They have to smell booze. You have to be swerving over the road. And now it's just like, oh, well, we're going to test you because that's the way it is. And I mean, the argument there is that essentially that it's going to be an abuse of power, that they're just going to, do random stops and just basically do that. Hopefully, the police are a little smarter than that and aren't going to go that route.
Really?
But
did you really say how funny thing you ever said on the Lloyd and JD show?
But I mean, it's, it's stupid. Like, I mean, the whole point of, the sort of decriminalization and legalization of marijuana was the fact that it was to stop, sort of incarcerating people and all that kind of stuff. And now you're putting it in a point where it can potentially make it worse, because I think the threshold that they said in blood, and they're going to have to obviously get, blood samples and all that kind of stuff. And it is a criminal offense to refuse 2 to 5 nanograms in your blood system. And I mean, And there's some arguments that, for people that use it as medication and do not have that don't have the effects that are going to be that. People that are using on a chronically daily basis.
I'm probably on like quadruple that right now. Like, I'm like probably like way out of the park, and I'm still on normal.
Yeah.
Like no one that knows me would be like, dude, are you high right now? Yeah. No one would say that to me now. But someone like, if my girlfriend was to partake and do what I have done this morning, I wouldn't let her drive.
Right.
But and that's why this is going to be one of the hardest things to judge.
Right.
Because it's not like alcohol. And that's what we need to start recognizing, is it's not like alcohol. You don't drink a couple beers. Everyone drinks a couple beers and they pretty much feel the same. You might feel a little different because, the weight difference between me and you, or your tolerance to beer because you drink it more often. Yeah. But within a beer or two, I'm going to be right there with you.
Yeah.
With marijuana, not the same.
Yeah.
I can go, quite a lot harder than you could go
Right.
Trust me.
And I imagine, right? And I mean, everybody that listens
you would be
to
like,
the show.
Oh my God, has that killed you? What you just did?
And everybody that listens and watches the show knows that I have never tried marijuana or used marijuana. So I mean, I'm not 100%. Sure exactly, sort of the impact when you smoke it and all that kind of stuff. But I imagine there are different strengths.
That's another thing.
And THC content.
You can tell that a lot of the guys up there that are making the decisions for these laws have never smoked marijuana and are not aware of what it actually does to you. And the difference between doing it when you're a new time user and doing it as a constant day user, like I have some really trippy experiences when I was a new user.
Yeah.
It can have strong effects. It can, deplete your reactability time and things like that. But the difference between that and someone that uses it every day for medical purposes or because they recreationally smoke it every day, fucking so different.
Yeah.
We search for that feeling and you'll never feel it again.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
Well, it's like what they say with heroin, chasing the dragon.
The high. You will do that with marijuana forever.
Yeah.
You will never be as high as you was when you first smoked marijuana. Yeah. Like someone say they don't get high the first time, but the first few weeks that you're getting into weed, if you've never done it before, will be the highest that you've ever been. The giggles, this and that. I don't get that anymore. You don't find me get high, sit on the couch going, hee 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 hee. Like, and to even achieve that, I have to smoke all day. And then at about 9 p.m., I'm finally like maybe on the couch, like, a beer in, I need other things to get you there. It's still not a thing, Smoking and drinking is a different thing.
Yeah.
So that's not what I'm talking about. But for an everyday user who's just smoking weed, it's a mild difference.
Right.
And it's scary because they're just, like you said, they're just testing everyone. And the ignorance that they showed in the final comment was, and until there's science to prove it, this is the law. And it's like, well, fuck, there is science to prove it.
And I think that I was looking at some papers because I know we're going to talk about this stuff, and I mean it's been good. It's been a good kind of thing that's happened in the conversations that we've had. Some of the research basically saying 2 to 5 is who knows, right? And there is science behind it, and people are ignoring the science. And exactly what you said in a documented paper that came out of a university, basically saying alcohol cannot be treated the same as marijuana. You can't test the same. It is not the same thing, but different. The thing is the mindset is completely like alcohol. It's like, oh, this is the way it's going to be. Right. Yeah. And I mean, I understand, that, they have to put some sort of limitation on, and there has to be something. I mean, obviously if a guy is completely, blitzed out of their mind and driving around, hopefully that's, where they kind of take it in.
But it would be noticeable, I feel. And it's the same as drunk driving at that point.
Absolutely.
Now we have entered a place where we can put alcohol and weed on the same level. If someone is that stoned that they cannot get into a car and drive properly, you will notice and they will be pulled over.
Yeah.
And it's the same with driving. I know tons of people that have drive drunk and never been caught. It happens.
Yeah.
That's part of the world. You can't catch them all. But a lot of them get caught. They either crash and they get caught, which is usually, sadly, the fucking incident is they usually crash and that's how they get caught.
Yeah.
They might catch a few on, New Year's when they have their roadblocks set up where they're getting everyone a blow.
Yeah.
But other than that, we catch them because they kill someone or because they crash and we realize they were drunk.
Yeah. I mean,
and
if you look
at... it's going to be the same thing with weed. These people that are going to get way too high and they're going to be driving, they're going to crash, and then that's going to blow out of proportion as well because it's completely different. To someone that has just been smoking all day, it's normal. Their reaction time would be normal.
Well, it's like last year when I got hit by that impaired driver. It was pretty apparent that he was impaired, the moment that he stepped out of the car. And, I mean, the fact that he backed up 30 feet into the front of my Jeep, right? It's like, okay, you're pretty plastered. I feel at that point, it's pretty apparent. It's, some of the borderline stuff I'm not 100% sure of. And there's an irony as well, too, because if you think about it, in Canadian society, the laws revolve around what? They revolve around alcohol and now marijuana. But, if you show up at a check stop and you got a white ring of powder around your face, no drugs in the vehicle, and you're tweaking out.
That's
true. They're not going to do a blood test. They're not going to be like, okay, well, you're positive. You're not positive for marijuana, and you're definitely not drunk, and you're like tweaking out there. I mean, they'll still get you.
Have a good day, sir.
They're probably not going to let you go on any further, and that's kind of my point, right? But I mean, the funny part is that it's a little bit ridiculous. Like, I'm fine.
Yeah, well, it even goes so far to say is like, what if someone's had too much coffee in a day?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you haven't eaten much and you've just drank coffee all day because you're trying to stay awake, or that's a stimulant. You're still on a drug.
Yeah.
And, you know, in my opinion, it is still going to affect your brain.
If you're driving a truck and the only thing that's been keeping you awake for the last 36 hours is
coffee.
A bunch of Red Bull and coffee, you know, at that point, your judgment is impaired. That would, you know, be my thing. I mean, you've got to be responsible.
It's the same as weed.
Things.
Like, you can smoke weed, like you can drink a coffee all day, and it might have a drug effect on you but if you've been doing it for a while, like if I drink a coffee now, I'll be up for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't drink coffee. I don't drink much caffeine. I have like a pop.
Yeah.
But when I drink like teas and stuff with the guys at work and stuff, like I don't get to bed till fucking like midnight, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just wired when I get home.
Yeah, where I drink a lot of tea and coffee, and it's just kind of like I'll drink it and I'll fall asleep in 5 minutes.
And
it's just your body builds up.
So when you build up that tolerance and you're smoking your joints, that's how it is, man. You know, and yeah, there's going to be a time where if you sat there and drank 50 coffees and stayed up all night, you'd be fucked. If I sat here and smoked 50 joints and stayed up all night, I'd be fucked too.
Yeah.
But it's okay if you smoked a couple joints in a day and you do that on a regular basis, you're going to be a fucking normal human being.
Yeah.
No one knows. I've gone to job interviews high. No one's ever said shit. I've never been stopped and been like, Sarah, are you stoned? I've never happened to me.
Yeah.
The only way you would ever catch me is smell.
Right.
But now times have changed. There's pens, discreet. You never know when I'm fucking high now. I'm like a ninja before. It's great.
He's a cannabis ninja, folks.
Like nobody knows. I've worked for a guy before for 2 years. Didn't know I smoked weed. And he's one of his foremen. The other guys would get busted for smoking weed, and he would have me come down on them. I smoke weed with him on lunch break. Don't smoke any weed, boys. It's unacceptable.
I'm going to have to confiscate all that.
Lunch break. So, you know, I'm pretty good at hiding it.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's, you know, and that's the thing. I mean,
that's
hopefully, like they're not going to go.
But if I was a drunk, guaranteed someone would have said something.
Oh yeah, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Because I can act normally because I'm bloody normal.
Yeah,
you know, I got so much ADHD in me, it keeps it equal.
Right. Yeah,
it's like a lightning that travels through my body.
Yeah. like I said, hopefully they don't go
and
around
that's
and
different
just
too. Like
people
between
over.
me and Geordie, like. Geordie, he's been smoking it the same amount of times. The years I've been smoking it, probably, I have no idea how long he's been smoking it. Probably from birth.
Yeah.
but even like I will have more energy than Geordie still. So you got people out there that are gonna even be affected less just from ADHD and things that keep their energy level so fucking high anyway.
Yeah.
It is a medicine used for ADHD to calm you the fuck down.
Yeah.
Instead of Concerta or Ritalin or many of those other shitty pills that they shove down kids' throats.
Yeah, which they tend to over-prescribe as well. And
but
all
I'm also
that
not okay with kids
and,
smoking weed.
Yeah.
You know.
But, you know, it's going to be an interesting transition. I mean, it's interesting the date. It's going to be interesting how people react to it. I'm kind of curious.
It's scary for me.
Kind of going to be interesting how people, when they travel out, how people are going to react to it and all that kind of stuff, like crossing the American border. Because in America, you know, their national level, it's like a zero tolerance on drugs still. I mean, even though they have states that have, you know, the...
I'm going to pass a bottle of a blunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be like this. Be like, have you ever smoked? I just smoked 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I just... I'm so high.
It's going to be an interesting experience for people crossing the border. Obviously, as Jordy suggested, you know, not saying, you know, it's like, do you smoke weed? You know, it'd be like, just 5 minutes ago.
Why do you think I'm coming to Cali?
You know, because, you know, America doesn't have their shit figured out because, again, nationally, you know, the DEA and stuff like that, they could sweep all these, you know, states that have it legalized and shut everything down.
They've even got video footage of those cocksuckers like doing the edibles and like smoking the weed.
There was that. I know the video you're talking about. You see them, they walk in there and they basically bust this entire pot shop. And next thing they're
it's like trying
it up, and it's like, oh my god, guys, like, come on.
The worst.
Yeah. You know, when you're that business that has basically been operating legitimately in a state that has it approved, and the DEA comes in and does that stuff,
greasy.
and they have it on videotape, like, you know, like
it's greasy.
Like, it is.
That's when it's gone like too far. You're like, you know, you're taking the piss.
It's gone way too far. Yeah.
You're stealing,
well, you're crossing a line as
killing
as
dogs
an agent.
in the process, and they were shooting dogs and stuff.
Yeah, It's absolutely crazy, those kind of things. But
and I worry about Canada, though. I worry about this driving law. I worry about fathers and construction workers. I know a lot of guys that smoke weed that are normal citizens. You wouldn't ever stop them on the street and be like, sir, you a druggie. Like, you would never. Yeah. These are normal people. Yeah. And they're going to be arrested, and there's a chance of 30 days in jail and stuff. What the fuck?
And I mean, there's the whole no knowledge. I mean, it's going to introduce a lot of new smokers.
It's invasive.
Right? Well, it's going to introduce a lot of people that have no experience with it, don't know what they're doing, all that kind of stuff, and it's going to mess up some people that just make an honest mistake, right?
I mean, it's going to make it worse for the people that have already been smoking because, now you've got all these newbies, like, basically making their law look like a good law because they're like, oh, well, they're really bad at driving. Well, yeah, they're fucked. They've never smoked weed before in their life. Now they're all smoking ganja. Yeah. But give it some time. You'll be normal again.
Yeah. It's going to be an adjustment period. And like I said, unfortunately, there are going to be some very real consequences for some people, and they're going to spend a lot of money, obviously, dealing with it. I imagine that there'll be some advocacy groups.
What about someone like me who doesn't have the money to deal with it?
No, but what I'm saying is I guarantee you some of the people that, first get hit with it, there will be some marijuana advocacy groups that are basically like, no, we're going to help fund you because we need to set a precedent and all that kind of stuff. I mean...
You can always hope on the left-wingers.
Yeah. They'll be there. When you look at the law...
They'll be there with their picket signs and their fuck yous, and they'll get what...
When you look at the law that they put through and, in regards to the getting pulled over and not needing, sort of reasonable grounds and stuff like that, there was a warning, and they ignored it anyways. And the Canadian Bar Association basically said, you are violating charter rights, and, you're going to have problems. It's going to go to court at some point. And that's, that's just the law system. But unfortunately, the only people who really kind of win out of that is the lawyers, right? With all their money that they make. Yeah. So, but yeah, October 17th. Until then, who knows? And
blaze up.
Yeah. and there's some speculation that
pre-blaze.
Yeah.
Blaze now. By October, you have tolerance.
Yeah.
You'll be laughing. Ain't no one getting pulled over, right? Straight up, get high. Do it now. If you do it pre-blaze.
Yeah.
JD's pre-blazing right after this episode.
No, he's not.
Many doobies.
Yeah.
One day.
One day. There
One day he said it. I'm going to get the strongest shit. I'm gonna get honey oil.
Yeah. There you go.
Make him a cookie with like just so much in it. Like.
Well, that's all we have time for this week.
All right. Yeah. Sounds good to me. Have a good one.
Take her easy.
I'm Lloyd.
I'm JD.
Peace.
See ya.